Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio. And with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Good.
So today we are talking about the Winston Churchill, the late hour Robusto. The cigar is 5 inch by 52 ring gauge, comes out of the Davida factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano Marron Oscuro. Binder is Mexican San Andres Negro, and the filler is from the Dominican Republic, which is Olor Viso, Piloto Seco, and San Vicente Mejorado Viso. And from Nicaragua, it's Condega Viso, aged in Scotch whiskey barrels, and Esteli Viso. Price point is $17.50. Cigar was released in June of 2017. So that out of the way, June, what was your smoking experience like?
Flavor profile and just overall experience. Kind of a mundane kind of a smoking experience for me. Not much popped out for me on the cigar. I thought the delivery of flavors was pretty unfocused. Flavors that kind of muddled. So got some like hay, nuts, sharper black pepper, some little intermittent stone fruits coming in. So, but within all of those kind of flavors, it's very like it's not easily identifiable. It's just kind of like everywhere. Finish fairly unrefined. Black pepper minerals. Retrohaling the cigar, I got more black pepper out of it and nuts. Strength just a tad above medium and body medium. So that was just basically that was the first couple of thirds. Well, then the last third, I felt like the profile started to uh, come into more focus, but not enough to make it a good tasting profile for me. It's still very earth and spice forward with minerals and dried earth, black pepper. Finish also follows that same like spice and earth characteristics. And that was just unfortunately kind of my flavor experience in terms of the construction. I rated that to be really good actually. So the burn I rated it to be really very good, which is right below perfect. Not much to gripe about other than a couple of really minor touch-ups. Burn was overall composed. Burn temp was cool. Tight ashes, so really great. In terms of draw, I thought it was perfect. Perfect amount of resistance airflow.
Yeah, for me, the cigar started out with kind of a mix of wood, cinnamon, and black pepper. Cinnamon and the black pepper had a really interesting interplay together. And a little bit further in, that wood was up front, and cinnamon kind of took a lead little over the black pepper. Further in, that wood that kind of remains up front. A little bit of cream joins in, smooths out that cinnamon. Still a little bit of black pepper on the finish there. Retrohale was creamy wood with a cinnamon mixture. As that third closed out, profile was really smooth with the wood up front, kind of creamy cinnamon in the background. The black pepper had actually left the profile at that point. Strength was right at medium. In the second third, the spiciness of the cinnamon kind of bumps up a little bit, becomes even with the wood, and the cream was still supporting both of those notes. A little bit of a floral note kind of joined in a little bit later, and then some mustiness joined in even further on to kind of mix with that creamy wood, cinnamon, and floral notes. Retrohale, creamy oak, a little bit of that cinnamon spice still in there. Cinnamon kind of drops out of the profile right at the end, and strength kind of remained at medium. In the final third, creamy oak kind of remains up front. Floral musty notes have kind of varying ratios in the background. A little bit further in, that floral note kind of drops out. The mustiness kind of on its own in the background. Retrohale is kind of a creamy and musty oak. And then kind of about an inch in or so, the cigar started heating up, which brought a little mintiness to mix in with that creamy oak and the mustiness. Strength bumps up just a little bit, slightly above medium. In regards to the burn, it was fairly wonky. Didn't need any attention, and the ash was also a little bit flaky. But it held on through the first half of the cigar, and then kind of dropped off again another inch in. In regards to the draw, just like you said, I think it was perfect. It had just about the right amount of resistance that I prefer. So overall, what were your thoughts on this one?
Um, the Robusto version of this one that we just reviewed, uh, muddled, unfocused, unrefined. It's really interesting when I use these words very frequently within my reviews because those are not descriptors that I will typically associate with Davidoff.
Right.
Unfortunately, those are exactly the words I have to associate with this particular review. You know, it's it's almost polarizing. Like I was looking through my review of the Churchill era that we reviewed earlier this year
Yep.
or last year, last year.
Right.
Uh, and I felt like I smoked two different cigars, like entirely different cigars.
Hmm.
I used words such as smooth and engaging for the Churchill, and I used everything that was exactly opposite of that for this Robusto review. But so they're very different cigars. So if you don't like what I said about the Churchill of being smooth and engaging, and you like more spice and earthiness, this is definitely more for you. This is more your pace. But regardless of how much they contrast, I still go and think that within these Scotch barrel aged tobaccos, that it's not enough to pull through.
Yeah.
I definitely don't get Scotch notes out of these. Especially I think they advertise as being in like space side barrels. So yeah, I don't get it. This is not for me. I'd much rather smoke the Churchill.
Yeah, I mean, I'll second what you said. I don't feel like I got any Scotch notes, uh, barrel notes from this cigar at all. I did get a little bit from the Churchill, not enough of what I wanted, but I did actually feel like I could sense that. I actually scored this cigar the same as I scored the Churchill, but I would prefer to smoke the Churchill,
Oh,
just because it's
interesting. Okay.
a little bit of a flavor profile. I mean, kind of in the abstract, they're the same score, but
Hmm.
you could have two different cigars that get the same score, and then they're just different. They're different profiles. But
Hmm.
um, obviously, this is going to be the easiest one for people to go into because it's at the cheapest price. The Churchill's obviously much more expensive, but I think I'd rather spend the extra money to smoke the Churchill because I just think it was a bit more enjoyable, and you kind of get a little bit of the Scotch notes to it. Um, there's nothing inherently wrong with this cigar. It's not the profile I would prefer from the other Vitolas. So that would be kind of my notes. And I think that this is one of the cigars from 2017 that was kind of the most polarizing in regards to what Vitola people preferred. I mean, a lot of people were raving about, maybe this Robusto or the Toro or something like that. I don't think many people said much about the Churchill being the one that they liked. But
Oh,
I think what our thoughts were is if you're smoking a Winston Churchill and there's a Churchill Vitola, that should be the one that you're featuring, right? So
yeah.
that made sense for us to go with the Churchill, and that's why we did that. So,
It's
and
interesting. I was actually talking to our fellow developing palettes member John about this when I was reviewing, and I was like, John, like I'm smoking two different cigars, and he's like, yeah, he's like, that's exactly what I got too. But he, on the other hand, loved it.
yeah,
He liked both renditions. He liked the Robusto way more. He felt like
right,
the notes were more pronounced. But what does he know? He likes Gurkhas. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, just
exactly,
kidding. But yeah, they're very different cigars.
yeah.
Yep.
So, getting the scores, you gave it a 5.65. I gave it 6.62. How do you think that matched up with your experience?
That has average written all over it. I mean,
Yeah,
average taste, good construction. It's a story of that.
yeah. I mean, I thought the flavor profile was pretty good. It was average in the final third. Overall, it was a good cigar. It had above average construction. I mean, the burn was not my favorite. The draw was fantastic. So that's kind of, I think, where that score is. And like I said, I mean, it's not a bad cigar. It's a good cigar. But I'm just comparing it to the Churchill in the same line, and I just prefer the Churchill, even though I kind of scored them out equally. But it's still a good cigar. But yeah, there's a high price point on this cigar, so you have to take that into account, things like that. I mean, if I'm already at $17.50, and I spend $2 more, and I get 2 more inches of cigar that I enjoy more, I'm gonna probably go for that. So that'd be my thoughts. Any other final thoughts from you on this one?
It's hard, man. Like whenever I think about a Davidoff review, for most listeners of ours and just people that are fans of like cigar media, like especially the newer media, so like us and Half Wheel, Coop, and all them, right? Like most people are not going to have the budget to smoke Davidoffs all the time, right?
Right.
Um, so when they do fork up the cash, like they expect a great experience.
Mhm.
So when I smoke something like this that's so mediocre, um, it's disappointing, honestly, because I have this mindset of like dad offs have to be good. They have to hit a certain profile. They
Right.
have to be refined and smooth and engaging. But it's my if you are out there listening to this or reading this and you agree with anything of my palette, this is not for you.
Yeah. There you go. All right. If you just catch this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website developmentpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.